And opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Ask the Experts radio show, proudly sponsored by board-certified family law attorney Tina Lewert of Lewert Law, LLC. Sit back for the next half hour as host Steve-O interviews top experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Steve-O offers such educational topics as community association law, family law, chiropractic care, employment law, healthcare law, and public insurance adjusting. Interviews by top experts in their field. And now, here's your host, Steve-O.
Hey, good evening, South Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the area of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Every week, when we start the show and when we end the show, you hear attorney Tina Lewert. Tina has been with us, believe it or not, going on 5 years. She's one of the finest attorneys, family law attorneys. I'm not going to just say here in South Florida, all over Florida. And she's back tonight. I have gotten, hello, Tina, how are you doing?
Great to see you.
It's good to see you. If I could see you. I don't see you at all.
I'm here. I see you. Okay.
There you are. Okay. So, Tina, I got to tell you this. We have gotten so many emails about you. And I got to tell you, you have built up a fan club here on the Ask the Expert show. So, tonight, I'm going to read a lot of these emails and let you answer the questions. We're going to make it real simple for you. But before we go any further, tell people, and you're board certified, so I can say you are an expert in the field of family law. Tell everybody about your practice, and you have a new associate.
I do. Thank you. So, we specialize in family law matters. I've been practicing law for 22 years. Lewert Law has been in operation proudly for 19 plus of those years. And I've been actually a sole practitioner until now, which I think for family law, that's a nice way to go. It's a nice arrangement to have. The clients appreciate that, when they hire me, they're going to get me. It's because family law and divorce and all those things wind up being a very sort of personal relationship that a client develops with their lawyer. But as you said, for the first time, actually just last year, I hired Tamara Grossman, who she's actually very, very experienced attorney, and she's working with us now. And so we work as a team on all of our cases, and it's been a great arrangement. She's a fantastic attorney and a great addition to my firm. We specialize in family law, divorce, child custody, alimony, child support, modifications of those things, and sort of all that fun stuff, prenups, postnups, and that's 100% of what I do.
Well, I got to tell you, and you're going to hear them tonight, we got emails about you, I guess as far south as Aventura and as far north as Stewart, because now we're on 6 different stations. Can you believe that? When you started, we were on one station, 1470 AM, and now here we are. We're on 6 stations now. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Let's just jump into it because I think there's so many great questions here. The first one is from Cheryl, and she wants to know, does a mother get more time with the kids because she is the mother?
A very an age-old question. So I get that question. I mean, I get, people that men and women that contact me and have that they're wondering about that. And I think so. There used to be something called the tender years doctrine in our state, possibly in other states. All of that's been abolished many years ago. And the idea was that if a child is younger or breastfeeding, that the preference should be given to the mother. Yeah, kind of because they're the mother. No, the answer to that question is no. Men and women, all genders of all parents are all equal. So it doesn't matter if you're the mom, the other parent has just as much, they're just as much of a parent as you are. And there's no, so that's the starting presumption. And then as far as rights, as far as time sharing and custody and even decision-making rights, if there are reasons that there should be something not equal there, those can be argued during the case, obviously, like certain dangers or safety issues or things like that, where someone sort of lacks the capacity to be a fit parent. But no, the starting presumption is that all parents are equal parents of their children.
I'm going to throw this question in because we got a lot of people who don't understand that this is a no-fault state. And
Yeah.
so I had a guy say, it's not my fault. But that's what Florida is. So explain that to everybody. What does no fault mean?
So no fault means a couple of things. And it is a hard concept sometimes for people to grasp, because you're dealing with the demise of a relationship. Sometimes, people drift apart. Other times it is maybe someone's fault, when we have certain extremes that happen. So, and it's very, it's a hard thing to grasp when there are things like infidelity and things like that cause the demise, or abuse or things like that, for people to say, well, the other person did those things, I didn't do those things, so shouldn't they be punished somehow in the divorce or in what they get financially? So no fault means a couple of things. It means, number one, that we can't punish our spouse for their so-called bad behavior. It also means that the court, the judge, anyone involved in the case, no one's ever going to ask why the divorce happened, who caused it, what the reasons were. You do not have to prove grounds in Florida. I don't even know, there might be a couple of states left where you have to prove abuse, adultery to get the divorce itself at all. Florida, you do not. Florida, all you have to do in your initial filing is you say the marriage is, quote, irretrievably broken. And that's a legal phrase. And that means that the marriage is over. There's nothing the court can do to put it back together. No one will ever ask, in court anyway, as a relevant issue to determining what everybody gets in the case. No one will ever ask why, whose fault, who caused it, and all of that. So the idea is that, like I said, we don't punish our spouse for their bad behavior by taking away something that they would have otherwise been legally entitled to get.
So the economy is bad. I mean, anyone who thinks the economy is good needs to go have that porch light bulb screwed in tighter or something. So with the economy being so bad, is the divorce rate up now?
I always think there's still a balancing of that, because yes, it causes strife. Obviously, finances and disagreements over finances causes a lot of strife in a relationship. But from my perspective anyway, and the number of filings, people still, to afford a lawyer, people still have to come up with, funds to get a divorce. And also, even if they choose not to hire a lawyer, which some people don't, although that's not really advised. But whether they do or they don't, you're still splitting up a relationship, a household. So it costs money not just to hire a lawyer, but it costs money to move. It costs money to put down deposits on a new place and things like that. And so it's hard to do that in this economy. And I have actually seen, I hate to say this, but some people sort of staying together because they can't afford to get a divorce.
Ooh.
So you'd think it's like, yeah, that's actually, that's unfortunate and sad, but I think there's, like I said, there's sort of a balancing there of, yes, it would cause more strain if there are disagreements over finances. But on the other hand, there's that. So.
Well, I've kind of been saving something for you. We had an attorney. I'm not even, his name doesn't matter at all. He was calling up because he's seen your show. He wanted a show. He's a family attorney. And he said, I got to tell you something. One thing is, you don't want to go up against Tina Lewert. And I thought that was a.
Who was? Tell me who it was.
I'm going to say.
I know who it is.
Well, that's a supreme compliment.
Yeah,
I mean, it
absolutely.
is. So I thought that was.
No,
I mean, and everybody knows you, Tina. I mean, there's a lot of family attorneys in this city. And we had people call up just to say, you got a great attorney on your show. So everybody knows you.
Yeah, I mean, not every, a lot of people do. I mean, like I said, I've been out there, been practicing for 22 years. I've had my office I think I started my practice in Delray, but I've been in Boca for well over, 15, 16, 17 years of that. And yeah, you get to know the same attorneys. It's when you look at it, it's actually sort of a smallish community of family law attorneys and locally where I am anyway, Palm Beach and Broward County. I'm sort of on the line there in Boca, and we all get to know each other. We all have cases against each other from time to time, or I'm a mediator too. So I mediate for a lot of my colleagues, but absolutely, that's a huge compliment when someone says like, "Oh, I don't want to go up against her," or when
that was
someone
a
sends
great compliment.
Yeah,
so
when someone sends me a case, they have a conflict of interest, they can't take the case, and they send it to me, and I'm absolutely flattered and appreciative. When
yes. So a question that we go over all the time, but we get so many people writing this question in, and I thought this would be good going into break. Grandparents. I know the answer to this. We've had this so many times.
Yeah, we talk about
Do grandparents have any rights?
Sadly, no. Sorry, grandparents, no. Yeah. And it's I had I think there's a form on my website where you can go in, and if you have a question or you want a consultation, you can fill out a form, and it comes to my email actually directly. But someone wrote me recently and asked that, and it was grandparents, and they said that I think actually their own child was keeping the grandchild from them for whatever reasons, and they wanted to assert their rights and enforce their rights as grandparents, and I had to tell them, sorry, you don't have any rights. Yeah.
Do any states have rights for grandparents?
You know what? I'm not sure. That's a Google question. I don't know.
Well,
but
I don't know. It kind of seems so cold that grandparents don't have any rights, that they're stuck in the middle of everything.
I mean, rarely. So with the exception of, for example, if you have a parent who is incapacitated, unfit, severe drug addict, cannot parent their children, isn't healthy enough to parent the children or take care of the children, someone else, like a family member, can step in and seek to have that parent's rights terminated. And a lot of times it's a grandparent. So it's a very sort of severe, extreme circumstance, but that's sort of a technicality. But generally, grandparents in general, just by virtue of being grandparents, don't have visitation and custody rights at all.
There's a big case come about, and I know the TV show, but case law, you might. There's a family on TV for, I think, 10 years. It's called the Crisleys. Father or the mother, they've got 3 kids, and one of their sons, who was a drug addict, has a little girl, a black child, and because he was the child away, the Grizzlies took her in like she was one of theirs from the time she was 4 months old.
Yeah.
Now she's 10. The parents are going to prison for fraud.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And now the mother, the biological mother, has come back in the scene. And she wants her child back after all these years. Is she going to be able to get her child back?
It depends. I mean, and you know, typically, so those are more like what we'd call a dependency case, where it's actually a different division of it's another form of the family law court system, but it's actually another court division just for cases like that where they terminate parental rights, and then, you know, one of the biological parents can come back and say, well, I want my rights back. The third parties like grandparents or other family are granted temporary custody, and you get, you know, they have state court appointed guardians ad litem and other investigators and things like that to figure out like what is best for this child, that get involved and make recommendations to the court. And it's a little bit of a different court system for those types of cases. So yeah, but it depends on a lot of things. She's going to have to jump through maybe.
Well, Tina, let's give everybody your phone number and your website address.
Sure. Phone number at the office is 561-544-6861. And the website is Lewert Law, LEWERTLAW.com.
Well, if I were married, which I'm not, if I was going through a divorce, which I'm not, there is only one attorney in the whole state of Florida, and we have other markets that we also do. Tina Lewert would be the only attorney I would trust to handle my divorce case, and I just had to throw that in. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we have more with board-certified attorney Tina Lewert.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time-sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
We are back now with more of the Ask the Experts radio show, proudly sponsored by board-certified family law attorney Tina Lewert of Lewert Law LLC, covering South Florida.
And we are back. This is the Ask the Expert show. We're with you every Thursday night from 6:30 to 7:30. We bring you some of the finest experts in the state of Florida: health, legal, financial, and home improvement. We're here tonight with our big sponsor of Ask the Experts, attorney Tina Lewert. Okay, Tina, I got to ask you something. Someone just brought it up here.
Okay.
Do you play music?
Do I play music? Someone just brought it up. Let me guess who that is. So I dabble. I play. I pick around on the guitar.
Guitar? You do?
I may have been in a band in a while back. But it's been a while.
Okay. This is all done in your spare time, right?
We all have to have hobbies. Yes, my spare time.
Yes. Yeah, your spare time. Okay, so
musical.
I had to bring that up because I was shocked.
Thanks.
Anyway, we're here again with board-certified Tina Lewert. Here's a question we also get a lot of. This is from Ruby. She wants to know, is there legal separation in Florida?
There is not, and that's actually another popular question that I get when people call for consults. They say, "Oh, what if I do a separation and not a divorce?" Separation in Florida just means that you're not living together. It's not a formal thing. There's no declaration legally of a separation in Florida. So you're either living together, you're not, or you file for divorce or you don't.
You still get a lot of people asking about common law marriage.
Not as much anymore. Once in a while, or you'll hear sometimes I just hear friends say that about other friends. Like, oh, this person, well, they've been together for however many years, and oh, so they're common law married. No, not in Florida. No.
So there's no legal rights if you've been with someone for 12 years.
Correct. So, and yeah, the only thing that a family court would determine if you split up a relationship like that where you're not married would be if you had children together. We call that, and that's something that I handle, we call that a paternity case. Even if the actual paternity or the biological father is not disputed, we call it a paternity case. And then, yeah, we do a parenting plan, child support, time sharing, figure all that stuff out. But as far as financially assets or anything like that, if those people owned assets together, we don't get involved in that.
I don't know if this is a good question or not. They want to know, this is from Rebecca in Boca. She wants to know, of a child in Florida. I mean, I don't understand, why would they just want temporary custody?
Part of your sentence cut out. I'm so sorry. I heard of a child in Florida.
They want, how can they get temporary custody of a child in Florida?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that means. So, in what context?
Why would you just want temporary custody? I would want, full rights.
Maybe they mean something like we were talking about earlier, where there's like a dependency case, and they do call that temporary custody when, for example, the biological parent or parents cannot care for the child, and someone else, like a grandparent, which is what I've seen most commonly, steps in and says they call it temporary custody, and they get an actual court order for temporary custody of that child. I mean, that could be what they're referring to.
Tina, what about, is it automatically that everybody gets 50-50 custody? Or does sometimes the mother get more, or sometimes the father get more?
So there's no, right now, the law, the way that it stands in Florida, and I say it that way because there actually have been in the last few legislative sessions some bills that were introduced and that were passed and then thereafter vetoed by whatever governor we had at the time. And this goes back a number of years where they did try to pass a presumption of 50-50 time sharing. So like a 50-50 schedule to be the presumption. That's been shot down. So that is not the law. Right now, the way the statutes read, there's no presumption of sort of any time sharing or division of time sharing. You're just mother and father. They don't call it custody. They took the word custody out of the statutes a number of years ago. They call, so no one has primary custody or secondary custody or even majority custody. You're just mother and father. And there's a schedule. And the schedule is, well, I said, like, it's not presumed to be 50-50, but that is what I see a lot of the judges do as a starting point. If everything is generally okay, 50-50 custody. And then from there, yes, either parent can make arguments that the other parent should have less than 50%, they should have more than 50%. If there are any issues when it comes to things like safety, something to do with safety, that the child may be in danger in that parent's care. If there's an addiction that's untreated or unacknowledged, or abuse or things like that, then from that starting point, people can make arguments. Sometimes 50-50 or something other than 50-50 comes down to just people's work schedules. Because like I've got parents that go away all the time for work or they travel for work, they can't do 50-50. Or people that have overnight shifts like nurses and doctors and ER physicians and police officers and things that some of them can do 50-50. Sometimes they just can't do it with the way their shifts are. So, but generally the courts at this point in time tend to trend toward trying to do 50-50 if they can.
Well, I kind of saved this for the end. When we announced that you were going to be on this week, I had a father call, and it was very sad. Listen, my hat's off to you to be able to emotionally handle this, but he was literally crying. He loves his kids. I mean, this is what it was all about. It wasn't like his wife is not a bad mother. It's just he loves his kids and wants to spend more time with them. And he wanted to know, which we gave him your phone number, if you could help him go to court and give him more responsibilities as a father. But I told him I would bring it up tonight because I bet there's other fathers out there like that too.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of, fathers who sort of got lost in the debacle years ago when maybe there was more of a presumption for mothers, but it would depend. It would depend a lot on his actual circumstances. So I'd have to talk to him about that.
Well, I hope he called. It was really sad. How you do this, it's beyond. I mean, you must go through a lot of tissue.
It's not for everybody. Definitely not for every attorney.
Well, it's always as the show goes by.
Other attorneys talk to me and they say that. I don't know how you do this area of the law, but
well, as always, Tina, the show goes by so fast. Give everybody your phone number.
Sure, 561-544-6861, and the website is Lewert Law, LEWERT law.com.
The finest, without a doubt, the finest family attorney in the state of Florida, Tina Lewert. And we will let you, Tina's going to be back again with us. She's with us every month. Tina, thank you so much. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got more Ask the Experts. We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
WWNN AM Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting live from the Robes Studio. Injured recently? Call the Robes Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Robes, winning for you and our community. This is the one and only.
And they are located in Lake Worth, Florida. They have won awards for clinical excellence in mental health and addiction. Campus Recovery is proud to serve clients seeking addiction and mental health services. Campus Recovery offers medication-assisted treatment and clinical services which are provided by master's-level clinicians who are licensed or seeking licensure. The facility has a leadership team with extensive mental health, addiction, trauma, and co-occurring disorders experience and is one of the highest credentialed outpatient facilities in the country. All of campus recovery levels of care include individual counseling, group counseling, medical and psychiatric care, case management, and ancillary services. Their partial hospitalization program level of care helps individuals to reintegrate back into daily living. This level of care typically occurs after completion of stabilization, which typically occurs at detox or a residential program. At this level of clinical services, individuals will receive 6 days of clinical programming. Campus Recovery also offers programs such as outpatient care. Individual and group therapy sessions are also available. All of Campus Recovery therapists are highly trained, educated, and experienced in addiction and assigned to you for the entire program. Some of the topics discussed are relapse prevention, stress management, life skills, belief systems, and many other areas of addictions and mental health. Contact Campus Recovery today at 877-995-0102. That's 877-995-0102.
We are back now with more of the Ask the Experts radio show, proudly sponsored by board-certified family law attorney Tina Lewert of Lewert Law LLC, covering South Florida.
And we are back. Tonight's a very special show tonight because, if you just listen to the news with this fentanyl that's going on now and all the fentanyl that's coming into the country, and, that's not my scene, but I'm learning a lot about why fentanyl is so popular, because it's cheap. On the other hand, look at all the people who are dying from it, and just so needless. And you know what? Tonight's show that we're doing with Campus Recovery Center, you might know someone, and I just brought up drugs, but it could be alcohol, it could be mental health. And I think that if you look at what's going on in this country, people are just mad. And there's a lot of people full of hate out there that really need help. And we've got to do everything we can to get these people help. We're not professionals. That's not where we want to be. But there are professionals that understand this. And that's why we were so blessed to get Campus Recovery Center. And I'm going to tell you something. I mean, I don't push this a lot, but I am a very spiritual person, I guess I can say that. God is the most important thing in my life. And my girlfriend and I were driving down the street, and there was Campus Recovery. And it just weighed on my mind. And I called them, and our guest tonight, Evan Frizzell, answered the phone. And this is where God wanted us to be. And I know a lot of people don't like discussing religion, but I really feel like that this is the connection that I made, just seeing. It's really a nice place too, Campus Recovery Center. And I'm sure you're going to find out tonight and next month that Evan had a problem at one time. But and if you're watching tonight on Facebook or you go to their website, man, he just looks amazing. So he's been there. And that's what's so great about the show is that, these are people who understand. And I don't know if mental health has become big with you, but you look at people who are beating people up in the parking lot that probably never did that in their life before. People with what's going on are just mad. But you know how to deal with this. So let me just introduce, I'm sorry, I get off my soapbox, but we are just so glad to have Campus Recovery Center, and we're going to, starting next month, turn this into, we're going to let you all call up with your questions. And I'm really excited about that because we usually have to be real careful. But I think since God's got a hand in on this, I think we'll be fine. So let me introduce you to Evan Frizzell with Campus Recovery Center.
Thank you for having
You're the man.
me. Thank you for having
You're
me.
the man. I mean, this guy is so gracious, and he's just, man, I tell you what, and you went to Campus Recovery.
Yeah, no, I did.
Do you remember that day that you made that decision?
Yeah, man, when I got to Campus Recovery, I was still in a delicate process of my recovery. You know, I only had maybe 60 days clean. You know, fortunate enough for me, you know, I was going into Campus Recovery to the last level of care, the IOP program. And, you know, like I stated last month, it was a tough decision to make because I got this such good headspace from what I felt like. I felt like I was ready. And it took about a week of being at Campus Recovery, quickly realizing, like, oh, I'm not at all.
Wow.
If I go home now, I'm in trouble, you know? So it was a quick transition. And, you know, something that we see a lot of now, you know, you spoke about mental health, is a lot of the things that we're seeing is, you know, 90% of some, you know, people who suffer with substance abuse disorder also have some sort of co-occurring mental health disorder, rather if that's bipolar, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, depression. You know, it took me going to treatment to find out, like, hey, you have depression, anxiety, panic disorder, PTSD. I didn't know what any of those were. You know, I was just a junkie. I was just a drug addict. I loved the feel of instant gratification because it gave me peace when I needed it, you know.
You know, you remind me of, there's a guy on TV, his name is Mike Lindell, and he's the pillow guy. And when he talks about his past, it's like he's just having a conversation with you, you know? Yeah. The past is the past. That's not where I'm at anymore. This is where I'm at now. Yeah. And I wake up every morning thankful. But you know what? For those of you who used to smoke cigarettes, just cigarettes, and you knew how tough it was to break that habit. And I still say today it's my biggest accomplishment of my life. Yeah, if you never smoked a cigarette, you wouldn't know about an addiction. And it's the same thing with drinking or drugs. And I know a lot of friends of mine really went because they had a physical issue, pain. And they didn't start off wanting, you know, hey, I want drugs. It's like, I gotta stop the pain.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people, that's what happened with me and a lot of other people, you know. It's sad to say this, but, you know, usually when people are ready to go to treatment the most is when they're not waking up to get high anymore. They're waking up to not be sick, to not have seizures, to not have hallucinations. You know, the withdrawal process without proper medical care is a very dangerous thing. I tried to quit drinking cold turkey. I tried every which way to stop drinking, and it didn't work.
Because you wanted to stop?
I needed to.
Okay.
And that's where there's
that's
a
big
switch.
Difference.
Yeah, that's where there's a switch because, you know, there's people who want to stop, or that know that they need to stop, but they don't want to stop. And the sad part of this whole process is I could sit here and talk to you for the rest of your life. I could bring someone in who's had 30 years clean, but if you don't want to get sober, you're never going to be sober. And that's just how it is. I mean, you know, my dad had every right in the world and every thing underneath his belt to tell him to get sober. Did he get sober? Unfortunately not, you know, but
I wanted to quit smoking, but I would have that cigarette talk.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
tomorrow I'm going to do it. It was always tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll do it. Tomorrow I'll do it, and then, you know, tomorrow never comes. You know.
I know.
And it's from what I've noticed, you know, there's just a missing piece when you're going through active addiction, and for me, that was the spiritual growth. That was, you know, when I got sober, I felt all of those feelings come back that I used to hide, and I had to learn, and it's one of the most challenging things about getting sober is you're always going to have hard days. You're always, gonna have days where you could justify or rationalize why going to get a drink or using your drug of choice is a good idea. But the thing is you choosing not to do it is more powerful than the substance that you're.
I used to hear, don't negotiate with yourself,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you will lose every time.
Every time. You know what's funny? I actually had someone tell me recently that they were in treatment and called their mother and told them how good that they were doing, and they were on the way to the liquor store to get a drink.
Wow.
That's how powerful this disease of addiction is. You know, like I said last month, you'll manipulate, you'll steal, you're a liar. You know, left to my own devices, I will fail every time.
We had about 15 people from the last show, and I didn't tell you because I don't want you to rehearse it.
Yeah.
And so I haven't told you these questions. One of them was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's they keep hearing that you will not change until you hit rock bottom. And they wanted to know if that was true and what is rock bottom, because I'm sure it's different for everybody.
You hit the nail right on the head. Rock bottom's different for everybody. You know, it could mean financial burden. It could be deterioration of health. It could be divorce. It could be loss. My personal rock bottom was feeling as if me dying was better than putting people to the pain of seeing me go through addiction. That was my rock bottom. So yeah, a lot of people have to hit that point to really want to get sober. But then again, I've seen people who, and you hear all the time, never hit a rock bottom, and they still went to treatment. So again, that's where it's tricky. Is this disease doesn't spare anybody, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't choose if you've had everything. It doesn't care if you've had nothing. If you've lost it all or had it, it just simply doesn't care.
How long is the process? I know everybody's different, but on average, and I guess, because I want to give people hope that, because it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
So patience is important. And you know, I got to tell you, a friend of mine brags about her sobriety after 40 years. It's like, wow, 40 years of sobriety. And it is a big deal to her.
Oh, absolutely.
After 40 years, you would think, you know, I don't really think about it anymore, but it doesn't work that way, does it?
No, it doesn't. And, you know, I'll tell you what, my boss is coming up on 10 years this Saturday. And if you would have told him 10 years ago that he'd be having this conversation with me or anything like that, he would have laughed in your face. It took him 43 tries of going to treatment before he got sober. But now he's, you know, happily married, clean, has 2 kids, and he's a very good man. And, you know, it's just that process can be very.
We got to get him on the show, not because he's the owner, but I want him to hear you. That's what I want.
He might be listening.
And I got to tell you something. This is going to be, I think, a theme for one of our shows. I got a lot of email from senior citizens who are very scared of what's going on in the country. And a lot of them would talk about they live in a condominium, and a lot of them are on a fixed income, and they're getting ready to lose their insurance because it's gone so high. And this thing now, where after 40 years, the association has to bring in experts. That's going to be really expensive, which goes to, they don't know how they're going to live.
Yeah.
Or if they even want to live.
That's insurance and everything like that can be very
So
tricky.
these people are talking suicide.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, the guy who owned, there was a very famous, I bet you Freddie will know this, there was a very famous club in New York called, oh my God, I can't believe it. Studio 54. The owner, his name is Steve Rebel, just died.
Really?
Assisted death.
Really?
He paid somebody to basically kill them.
Isn't that just terrible?
I know.
Isn't that terrible? I mean,
but these senior citizens are really afraid. Now, that is kind of mental health, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, well, if you get
suicide is.
yeah. I mean, listen, I've seen ages of 18 to 75 years old walk into these doors, and unfortunately, and it sucks, but unfortunately, age doesn't matter either.
Right.
I know someone who specifically took them 35 years just to realize they were depressed.
Wow.
And in their words, I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to get to the pain of living, which was so powerful to me because it was, in my mind, how do we get to that space? How do we get to a space of this kind of lost hope? And it quickly dawned on me is like untreated mental health issues. You could go your whole life. I'm sure my father had mental health issues.
Right.
But
So and we're going to go to break. This is a show that, I try to write questions down from you, the listener, that I would want to know. And I have not looked down at my sheet at all. To me, this show is so important. And I really think Evan will agree with me. If we could touch one person each month, we've done
yeah,
God's
absolutely.
work.
Absolutely. We're here having this conversation because it's something bigger than ourselves, right?
Yes.
And that's the foundation of recovery in itself. Is the idea that I could have only 3 months clean and you could have 10 years and I could save you from a relapse. That's how powerful it is. And again, touching one person, it's bigger than being able to go earn the biggest paycheck you could get, because at the end of the day, money's going to replenish itself, but human life is not. And if you can change a life, then you've changed yourself. And by changing yourself, you've achieved what, in my opinion, would be.
I got to tell you, probably people don't know this, but Evan knows this. Palm Beach area is noted across the country as the place to go to for help. Now, let me finish this, though. Not saying they're going to help you, though. A lot of people got into this business for money. And a lot of those places have been shut down in Palm Beach. It was a perfect scenario. So you have a company like Campus Recovery. How long have they been around?
About 7 years, 8 years, yeah.
Yeah, and they got through all that because there was a lot of recovery places that were shut down. So we're giving you a place. And, we're not making any promises, but what's so great about having Evan on the show, he's been there. I mean, I can ask questions all day long, but Evan has been there. And Evan is proof, I don't know about the other places, but that Campus Recovery Center works, whether it's alcoholism. We should say addictions, because that could be anything.
Yeah, you could be addicted to shopping, gambling, smoking, food, anything. We think about the word insanity, right? What is the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity is doing the same things over again and expecting different results.
I know.
And so addiction is the same way. You do these things knowing that at any second that could be it.
How does a person know they're addicted? Because I can always stop. I can always stop.
You can always stop.
I can do it anytime I want. How does a person really know if they're addicted? Yeah.
The 3-finger rule is what I say, which is if it affects my family, my finances, or my health.
Okay.
Another thing is a lot of people realize that they've got 2 choices. And this is sad, but there's some scenarios where somebody either has, okay, I can go to jail, I can go to treatment. And they decide to go to treatment, not wanting to get sober,
right,
but to avoid a jail sentence. But I can't tell you how many times.
It's not the right reason.
I can't tell you how it's not. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody do that, and then want to stay sober, and then they stay sober.
Wow.
So that's the thing. I know people who went to treatment to prove to their families that it didn't work.
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
and they're clean, you know. So that's the thing. It just takes rigorous honesty, you know.
You've got a lot of professionals that work at Campus Recovery Center. And I got to tell you, you're doing something right there. And, you know, now, especially here in Palm Beach, to stay in business for 7 years, that's a long time for this part of the country, because a lot of those recovery centers were just doing it for the money. And they were doing some really bad things. I'm not going to get into that. But when we have a facility like Campus Recovery, we're blessed. There's a reason why that we have hooked up. And, you know, I've actually listened to other recovery shows. And I'm going to this is not going to be like other recovery shows. This is going to be probably a slow process, but with Evan here, because you get a lot of the calls.
Every call that the number is attached to your screen right now, they all go straight to the cell phone in my pocket.
What do you do like 2 o'clock in the morning? You
This
just
is gonna
keep your
sound-
phone by you?
Yeah, I keep it on loud, and I have the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song on it, so that way it just wakes me up and I'm in automatic mode. That's the thing, is, you know what, if it takes me waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to take a chance on somebody that I needed a chance taken upon me, then by all means I'll lose sleep over it, because the statistics are so widely stacked against us that each person that can help somebody else is denting those statistics that are stacked against addicts, and they're very high.
There's an enemy out there. You can call that enemy whatever you want. Some people call it Satan, devil, whatever. I just call it the enemy. And the enemy wants to seek, destroy, and kill. The enemy doesn't have a watch on.
Nope.
So, I mean, you might get that phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, could be 2 o'clock. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes we have 4 calls coming in at once. You know, so it can be very chaotic. But you know what? Chaos can sometimes bring clarity.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, my clarity is helping others. I know that's what I'm here
Because
for.
you know what they're going through.
Absolutely. You know, when I get a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 20, you know, whatever, maybe year old kid on the phone says, "Hey, man, I'm shaking from withdrawals." I go, "Listen, brother, I've been there. Well, let me help you. Let's get you down here." You know, we take clients from all over the country, and it's honestly one of the greatest gifts that I myself have.
I got to tell you, I'm a prayer counselor, an altar prayer counselor. I'm up at the altar before and after services. My lines are a lot longer now. And a lot of them are families. The child is in prison now. And it's mostly drugs. And it's so hard for a parent because they don't have those skills like your people have those skills. And it's frustrating to them that they can't do anything for their child. I mean, they can try, but what they think is the right way is probably not the right way.
Yeah, no.
Could be more damage. But I got to tell you, in a way, I'm kind of jealous of you because I can't say to them, I know what you're going through. But I hear the stories, though.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there hurting. And thank God we have a campus recovery center out there. Let me just give you their number. The 561, is that okay? The 310-2923 on your screen if you're watching. It's 877-995-0102. Listen, this is nothing to be embarrassed about. This is something that if you've got a friend, you're not a friend if you just let this continue on.
Yeah.
And you know what? They might throw their keys at you or call you names.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do with this show. And I think starting next month, we're going to take calls.
Absolutely.
And I want to do a senior show because they have different problems than maybe an 18-year-old would.
Yeah, that's, to come to think of it, and this is something that, is very prevalent, I think, with the senior citizen stuff, is, let's look at how mental health was diagnosed and treated in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, the 80s. Completely different time, And so the resources now, whenever, they're offered to somebody, they're scared to take because they were taught by mom and dad, suck it up.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, get your head, you know what I mean? That
Stop
kind of-
drinking.
Yeah, exactly. I swear, if I had $1 for every time someone just told me, like, just quit drinking, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, easy enough.
Put that cigarette down.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't. I mean, I hate to laugh at it, but it's just so. Those kinds of people that really think it's that simple. I'm here to tell you that it's not, because if it was, I wouldn't have chosen to be sober. I didn't choose to be sober because I had to be sober. I chose to be sober because I needed to be sober, and I had no choice. I didn't have the choice of saying, you know what, I'll have this one drink and that's it. It didn't work like that for me. It was, one's too many, 1,000's never enough.
Well, bro, I'm so sorry, man. It's just, we could go on for hours. This is going to be probably one of our greatest shows of all of our shows. We're here talking to Evan Frizzell. We're going to get 561-310-2923. Evan will be back with us again next month. Send me your text questions, and I'll try to get them on. We'll be back with you again next month. Evan, God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you again next month.
Sounds great.
And we'll be back with you again next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thank you for tuning in today to Ask the Experts.